Shabbat Shalom, everyone. The day that I became a bat mitzvah, my parents, as many parents do, came up on the bima to bless me, and my mother said, "May you grow up to have children just like you." Okay, so you have obviously been blessed by your parents this way. In case you didn't understand the joke, as everyone's misting up at the tender words of my mother, she said this when we were being awful, not when we were being good. You see, it's a reward for your children to be just like you when you're being an angel, but, when you're a bit of a devil, it's just desserts. And indeed, I did grow up to have 2 children, and for the most part, they are wonderful. But occasionally, I could kick myself for them being just like me because I role modeled it for them. Parents often worry that their children will inherit their worst traits, whether they're genetic or character flaws. And if you don't have children of your own, perhaps you worry about the next generation repeating the same mistakes of our generations. Some families inherit these flaws. They're passed down through generations of trauma or dysfunction, and that is definitely a theme in the book of Genesis. When Jacob is dying, the following event occurs. Genesis chapter 48. When Joseph saw that his father was placing his right hand on Ephraim's head, he thought it was wrong. So he took hold of his father's hand to move it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh. "Not so, father," Joseph said to his father, "for the other is the firstborn. Place your right hand on his head." But his father objected, saying, "I know, my son, I know. He too shall become a people, and he too shall be great. Yet his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his offspring shall be plentiful enough for nations." So he blessed them that day, saying, "By you, Israel will invoke blessings, saying, God should make you like Ephraim and Manasseh." And thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. Jacob is repeating the family pattern of favoring the younger son, and Joseph is trying to prevent him because he knows from first-hand knowledge the suffering that it can cause when it invokes that kind of jealousy. And he knows he's not the first generation to have this experience. He's heard the stories of his father and grandfather's bitter fighting, and his grandfather and great-uncle's bitter fighting. His father switching the blessing on his deathbed is perpetuating what's gone wrong for generations in their family. But what interests me is that while Jacob succeeds in this blessing, even so, the rabbis point out we have no stories of conflict between the brothers Ephraim and Manasseh. They don't succumb to the family pattern of bitter rivalry. The book of Genesis is filled with those stories, but it ends with brothers coming together to mourn their father Jacob. So what's different here? Maybe Joseph's family suffered so badly from the grief that was caused by this bitter rivalry that when they are reunited in Egypt, they make a concerted effort to grow closer together and to treat each other well. In Genesis chapter 50, we hear Joseph lived to see the children of the 3rd generation of Ephraim. The children of Machir, son of Manasseh, were likewise born upon Joseph's knees. Not only did that generation of brothers get along, but apparently Ephraim and Manasseh were close enough with their father that when their children were born, he was there at the birth. There seems to have been some healing. Jacob's favoritism of the younger brother does not cause the generation of Ephraim and Manasseh to fight. They've learned from the previous generations. I can almost hear the boys at their grandfather's deathbed when he switches his hands. I can just imagine Ephraim whispering to his brother, "This is messed up. I don't want a bigger blessing than you." And Manasseh answering, it's okay. This is the way Grandpa's generation did it. We'll just be respectful and then we'll do things our own way. You see, the thing is, Israel's children are no longer a family. They've become a nation. Israel's children are now the children of Israel. And it's no longer about what individual needs and wants are. It's about the collective good. And they're really going to need that unity in order to survive being under the thumb of Egypt's power. Ephraim and Manasseh are the first siblings to act peacefully toward one another, and they model for a new nation how to work together. When Adiv and I bless our children on Friday nights, not only do we ask that they grow up to be like our ancestors, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah, Ephraim, and Manasseh, but we also say, may you be blessed to be like Nesia, may you be blessed to be like Magen. Because while we want them to have the best qualities of their ancestors and family members, we hope that they will use their own wisdom to let go of the character traits that aren't so great, and that they will make their way in the world better than we did. So may each generation follow the wisdom of Ephraim and Manasseh and make their way through this life healthier, happier, and with more wisdom than the generation before it. Shabbat Shalom.